Hi there, I'm Tiana Wertheim with the Human Services Agency. Our agency serves people who are on food stamps, Medicaid, getting cash aid, child protective services, and so on. At the moment, we're serving about 112,000 individuals providing these services and more, and 52,000 of them, almost half, are receiving food stamps. Our caseload has been surging. Over the past 7 years, it has doubled. And we anticipate that this surge is going to continue with the implementation of healthcare reform. Whenever anyone wants to apply for subsidized healthcare in San Francisco, if they don't want to apply on the phone or in line, they're going to come to our office. And every time they come in or reach us by phone, we're going to say, are you receiving food stamps? Would you like to apply? Food stamps in California, we call CalFresh. So we anticipate that that's going to support the upward trajectory. Meanwhile, if this is your trajectory like this, down here, picture a curvy line. And that's about a third of our caseload that tends to go off food stamps and go back on within 3 months. And if you're going to go on, back on, you have to reapply. And you have to start all over again as if you weren't on food stamps before. And by that I mean you need to fill out a screening form, a 13-page application. You need to meet with an eligibility worker and provide a bunch of verifying documents like your ID, your pay stub, your rent agreement, bank statement, and so forth. If you don't happen to have those with you, your application will be on hold while you get those documents and submit them to us, and then you'll follow through on your interview with our eligibility worker. If we find that you're eligible, we'll give you an EBT card, somewhat like a debit card, and your food stamp allotment will be on that card, and you can begin to use that for your groceries. You can also use, with that, a requirement to stay on aid is filling out regular reports to us about your income status and various other points of information. If you have a change in household status, meaning the number of people you're eating, buying, and preparing food with, any income change in your household, you have to report that as well. It's really easy to mess up. It's a lot of work for our staff to process any application, and as this grows, it's putting a lot of pressure on our staff to keep up. So if there's anything we could do to reduce the amount of churn, and by that we mean on and off, it would be not only a lot easier for our staff, but greatly benefit our clients themselves who go months hungry, confused, as they've been often terminated by food stamps even though they're still eligible. So Jake is here. He's going to introduce their team and tell you a little bit about one of our clients.
Thanks. So this is our team. That's Andy Hall wearing a suit for the first time all year, looking great. This is Marc. He got married on Saturday. Woo! And is still wearing the same clothes. That's Rebecca, the cat wrangler, aka policy researcher, and I'm Jake. And I'm going to ask you to imagine Amelia. She's a mother of 2 living in San Francisco. She has 2 part-time jobs, and she goes to the grocery store on the 1st of every month when her food stamps benefits come in. So a couple of weeks ago, her and her 2 kids got on the bus. They went to the store. They walked through the aisles, filling up their cart. They waited in the long checkout line. They waited for the cashier to scan each of their items. And then Amelia went to pay with her food stamps card, and it was denied. So she tried again, and it was denied again. And then she dug into her purse looking for cash, but this month she didn't have enough. And the people behind her in line were getting a little impatient. So she left her groceries on the counter, gathered up her 2 kids, ushered them out of the store, back on the bus, back home without any food. Imagine how Amelia must have felt. So we think this happens about 1,000 times a month in San Francisco, and we're going to tell you the story of why this happens and what we're doing to prevent it. So about 10 days before Amelia went to the grocery store, she got this letter in the mail. It's called a Notice of Action. It's a federally mandated letter basically telling her that something is going to change with her case. But the problem with this letter is that it's really frickin' confusing, and it's intimidating, and most people who see this don't really know what to do. And Amelia didn't know what to do, So she set it aside and did nothing. And by the time she figured out what this letter was trying to say, she had already lost 3 weeks of benefits. So from the agency's perspective, this is known as churn, is when somebody needlessly falls off and comes right back on a program. And churn it's a waste for everybody. It's an unexpected shock for clients, and it's a big waste of resources for the agency. So what are we going to do about this? What would the ideal experience be for clients? So to answer that question, we interviewed staff, and we talked to clients, and we visited nonprofits, and we shadowed eligibility workers, and we even applied for and enrolled in these services ourselves. And we learned that the ideal client experience would be direct, it would be empathetic, and it would meet clients where they are. So we decided to redesign the notice of action from this to this. Let's just send clients a simple text message before they lose their benefits. No more bad shock in the grocery store, no more needlessly going without benefits, and no more angry phone calls coming into HSA. Seemed simple. In fact, it seemed so simple that at the beginning of the year, this was just a small side project. We were so wrong. That was like 6 months ago, and now Marc is going to tell you what it took to get there.
Thank you, Jake. So what does it take to prevent many other people from not having an Amelia moment? Well, we partnered with the Human Services Agency to create a text message system that we called Promptly. Now, Promptly doesn't replace that scary letter that Jake showed you, because HSA still needs to comply with state and federal regulations. So clients are still going to be informed. But this is an additional layer of communication that meets clients where they are. Simple, it's quick, and when sent ahead of time, they can take action from being dropped from the program. So, excuse me. So as you can imagine, we spent a lot of time working on the technical aspect of this program, but we also spent considerable effort working on the cultural side, right? This idea of culture change and making sure that Promptly fits within the internal business processes of HSA. So one of the things that we discovered is that there was no cell phone number collection policy within HSA. Many clients have cell phones, but there wasn't a systematic way to gather this. So we approached HSA management. They said, yes, let's institute this. And to their credit, they said, we're not collecting email addresses either. So let's do that. So we said, all right, let's go for that. Let's collect both of these at the same time. We also recognized that text messaging is not a secure form of communication. So wireless companies have access to these messages, and HSA prioritizes client confidentiality. So we worked with the city attorney to create as user-friendly as possible a one-page agreement that clients need to sign to opt in to agree to receive text messaging. Now, in order to test our application and to launch, we needed a pool of applicants. So how can we go about doing this? Well, we could hang out in the food stamp office, hoping that someone was going to be discontinued at the end of the month, and then ask them to sign a document. Or we go look at a massive data set of everyone that's going to be discontinued at the end of the month. We ask HSA employees, would you mind helping us out, contacting some of these clients by phone and opting them in? They agreed. We got digital voice recorders so we could capture a kind of voice signature, if you will, over the phone with the client's permission, informing them that this was occurring. And then by engaging with the city employees in this way, we increased awareness of what we were doing, we got buy-in, and they gave us suggestions on how to do a more effective rollout. So it was a win-win. We launch. This is what clients receive, right? Of course, according to their language preference. And we're getting this translated into 4 additional languages. Of the pool of applicants that we texted, half contacted the food stamp office. So we'd like to think that we helped prevent them from having an Amelia moment. And one of them who contacted the office, she had done everything right. It turned out there was an internal administrative error. And the person who helped her over the phone took care of it right there. Now, this is a big claim, so please let me know afterwards if you know otherwise. But to our knowledge, HSA was the first city agency in the country to text clients in a concerted effort to reduce churn. That's not for me. That's for everybody who went into this effort, and their names will appear at the end of this. So I also want to let you know that what we're planning come November is that every new applicant who walks into the food stamp office and everyone currently enrolled receiving food stamps will be asked, do you want to participate in this text message notification system? And if they agree, what we're hoping is that they will not have unexpected shocks in a grocery store when trying to buy groceries. They will not go without benefits unnecessarily, and they won't call HSA angry if that were to have happened. So I'm going to turn this back over to Tiana now.
Okay. These guys have talked a little about what they've already done. And I want to explain how complicated the project is that they embarked on. I was referencing last week that it's been something like a rubber band ball with a lot of interwebbed challenges and reasons why you'd want to help the client, but how hard it is to help the client, and what can you change, and can your effort really penetrate. And it's been intimidating to the point that San Francisco and I think human service agencies throughout the country really haven't had any success. This churning challenge is a challenge everywhere. So these guys dealt with something tricky, and they came up with a solution that was very simple. And by that, I mean the greatest compliment. They interviewed staff up the yin-yang of my agency, up and down the hierarchy. They spent quite a lot of time in our lobby, which is where people come in to apply for food stamps, and had conversations with people waiting there in the lobby about, do you have a cell phone? Would you be interested in receiving a text message, and so forth. I ran a focus group with folks involved in a similar project and had those kinds of questions explored, because there was a little bit of concern. How many low-income people have cell phones? Are they comfortable paying however much it costs to receive that message? How much confidence do we have that this will really be used? And so in terms of some of the remarks made earlier, this wasn't something that just came up as an idea pie in the sky. They really did explore the experience of clients. And in applying, I really think they had a taste of what it was like. Rebecca, who applied, got a copy of this NOAA. And I probably shouldn't admit this, but another person applied and got a copy of it in the wrong language. So it really was a sense of how are clients supposed to manage this thing. And I think coming up with a simple offer is really exciting. Already 500 clients have signed the waiver agreement, and this is just over the past couple of weeks. So over time, we'll accrue a larger and larger database of people that are looking forward to getting these texts if need be. The Human Services Agency is in the process, or soon will be in the process, of thinking about how are we going to bring this to scale. Did this thing work? Has it helped people? And to that degree, we are talking now about how we can raise funds for some kind of evaluation to figure out the impact. But assuming and hoping the impact is positive, we want to think about, are there other programs that we want to start texting clients for? What are the other messages we want to send out? And so forth. There either also, there's another city agency that's interested in this system. So as these guys come to an end, we're really just beginning our work to figure out how to bring it to scale. I also just wanted to personally say that working with these guys was really inspiring. Not only did they come in with a lot of talent and open eyes, willing to think big, but they were game. Lots of different ideas that we came up with. They were confident they could explore. They were willing to look at that rubber band ball from all sorts of different perspectives. And I benefited personally from that energy, remembering always push the envelope, have the guts to work outside of the box, come up with unconventional or maybe first in the world or first in the nation solutions. So that was really great. That's it.